welcome to Deep Dives with Dogs. So normally I'd be outside with the other dogs, but they are having a little bit of fun out there, so they didn't want to record. So I said, okay, we're gonna have fun with Daisy. Well, she doesn't want to play with the toy. She just wants to sit here. Hi, Daisy. But today's topic is about Napoleon and his abdication. So Napoleon, his first abdication, or I guess his first loss, really, in this whole scheme of his two major removals from power. This first one happens 1914, uh, on the day that this video will be released, so April 11th. And he really kind of gets let off easy for what he is. Like, he's the Emperor of France, obviously, and he has caused a lot of these European powers much, much trouble. Um, Obviously, he is heavily, heavily in charge of different European nations. Obviously, France. France is a huge empire under Napoleon. He's got all these puppet states, and Napoleon has basically unmatched power. There's a whole saying like Napoleon was worth something like it was like 1,000 men or something like that on the battlefield, maybe 10,000. It's something wild statement, and it's kind of true though. Napoleon in himself is a very unique figure in history because he's a great commander, and then he is also a great conqueror, but a great ruler in some ways too. France kind of does flourish under him. His laws are kind of really helpful to the people of France, somewhat. There are things that he not so great with, women's rights being one of them, for instance. Um, and it's kind of a mix of Napoleon taking what worked under the Revolution and what didn't work, he would kind of remove. Um, like I said, though, some of that not quite true. Obviously, women's rights he removed, but you know what I mean, the general idea of it. But Napoleon, he really understood his position in a lot of this stuff, where it's like, hey, I'm going to have to be kind of a little bit of everything, and learned. He was a learned guy, so he knew what he was doing. Uh, However, with his abdications, it really shows kind of his flaws as a human being. Uh, for for instance, after he invades Russia and he loses most of his force, and that's where the Sixth Coalition comes from, and really why he has to abdicate in the first place. You would have thought that maybe Napoleon would have said, well before it got to all the way back to France and things like that, hey guys, we'll surrender, blah 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 blah. I'll abdicate, and then he would leave for a while. Let it sit for a few years. But when Napoleon gets exiled to the island off the coast of Italy, there, he can't sit. He is promised a few things, and it's one of the reasons he can't sit because a lot of those promises aren't being held up. But he really should have at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. I know it sounds like a crazy amount of time, but one of the problems for Napoleon is that he is when he comes back, the European powers of the Sixth Coalition still have their armies in place because they were deciding things. And so it's like Napoleon shows up, and then it's like he has all the problems he had before. Obviously, he tries to fight this time, but it doesn't matter. He didn't give it enough time. If he had given it more time, realistically, Napoleon probably could have survived as a ruler. If he comes back and says, hey, I'm not going to do anything like I did last time, just going to be I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm not gonna do anything. I promise, guys. I just want to be ruler of France. Um, he probably could have survived. Now, would he have just been ruler of France? Hard to say. It's Napoleon. He was a very ambitious individual. Um, but could have. Um, it's hard to say though. It's hard to say what would have happened. But he probably would have survived, just realistically. He probably would have been able to be emperor, at least for a bit. As long as he didn't invade, they probably would have left him be. Because one of the things is, at that point, after so long, they wouldn't have been able to really fight him as one force. One of the reasons that they are able to beat Napoleon originally is because they are one massed force and they're all working together at this point. So Napoleon really can't fight that. He couldn't fight all the coalitions all at once. It's just too big of an army. Um, maybe before his loss in Russia he could have, but at this point, no, it just wasn't possible. And maybe even before the fall in Russia, who knows? But Napoleon really uh, could fight each individual power um, by himself. Um, so I don't know. I guess we don't know because that never happened. He didn't wait, but I think Napoleon would have waited. He probably would have been a little bit more lucky. But I do think the at first abdication though, it still was a good idea, just not the time that he waited to come back. Um, it really does show his love for the French people, and it really endears himself to them because he shows them, hey, I'm willing to give up for you, and that means a lot, especially once King Louis's brother becomes king, um, and shows why they got rid of the monarchy in the first place. You know. But what do you guys think? Do you think Napoleon should have waited? Do you think he was right to abdicate? Or do you think he should have tried to fight the Sixth Coalition? I don't think that's necessarily a good idea, but what do you think? Leave a comment down below. And as always, leave a like. And if you have anything I could improve on, please leave a comment. I always appreciate those comments. And if you can, please subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.